Star Wars Rogue One, the first standalone Star Wars film, is coming in December, and we were treated to our first teaser trailer. We finally got to see some footage of it, Lloyd. Tell me what you thought.
I thought it looked absolutely fantastic. I'm really curious about this one because I'm a big fan of Gareth Edwards. I've been following him since his debut film, Monsters. And then we also did a podcast on Godzilla, which you guys should definitely check out. I think he's an extremely intelligent director who's handling Rogue One as a war film, and he's a huge Star Wars nerd. So the whole film's going to be interjected with a lot of passion, intelligence, and I think a high level craftsmanship in terms of filmmaking.
Definitely. I'm a little worried about the plot device of the Death Star. I'm really hoping we get some other new stuff as well, because Death Stars feature so prominently in the Star Wars universe. And we know that the rebels get the plans, and they know the weakness in the Battle of Yavin, and Luke destroys the first Death Star. So,
is this taken during Empire Strikes Back when they're building the super Death Star, the one that can fire multiple times that we saw at the end of Return of the Jedi, or is this even before the first Star Wars?
See, I'm led to believe this is between episodes 3 and 4, when at the end of 3, Vader and the Emperor are supervising the construction of a Death Star. That's going to be weapons tested, I'm assuming.
But that girl, the general chick, she goes, many people have died for these plans. She doesn't say that until Return of the Jedi. So I'm assuming, I was just assuming just from that scene when they're giving the whole breakdown of the main character's history that she's like a real bad person in terms of how she's reacting, of course, to the Empire. I'm just assuming, just due to the similarities of that delivery and that character, that it's just before Return of the Jedi, like this is how they got the plans. Like many people died getting these plans, and this is their story.
Well, Felicity Jones plays Jyn Erso. We get that first bit of dialogue in this teaser trailer that says she's got forgery of stolen documents, possession of stolen property, aggravated assault, and resisting arrest. That really reminds me of like the rebellious Chris Pine character when he played James Tiberius Kirk. And I can really imagine Jyn Erso growing into the role of captain in the same kind of way J.J. Abrams rebooted Star Trek not long ago. As well, Jyn throws us back to Qui-Gon Jinn. So that's another kind of recycled name in the Star Wars universe. I'm guessing she won't be any relation to Qui-Gon Jinn.
I hope not.
Yeah.
Well, what I like about this... the idea of this movie is that it's going to go away from the whole Skywalker story. Like, not anything against that, but the world is so huge. It doesn't need, to focus purely on the Skywalker's family. Like, you can focus on many other aspects of the Star Wars universe, and that's the biggest thing that attracts me to this movie.
I also love the idea that we mentioned Mon Mothma, the Rebel Alliance leader, is in the film. The ability to have the favourites return and cameo through this because they're not quite killed off yet, or there's that untold story that they may be involved in. Of course, there's that one shot in the teaser that may or may not be a kneeling Darth Vader, or another Sith, or maybe Vader's apprentice.
I got to read you the top comment on YouTube for the trailer. Somebody's written, "Please, for the love of God, if you have Darth Vader in this film, don't show him in the trailer. Please don't pull a Batman vs Superman."
It'll be such a beautiful moment, though, much like the Han Solo Chewie moment in the actual Star Wars Force Awakens.
That's a great
trailer.
Comparison. I remember just going, yes, like people posted reactions of them crying when they saw that. I don't think we're going to get that same reaction if they build it up like you just mentioned. I think we're just going to get awe, just like, yes, this is going to be awesome.
Well, I think all they need to do is put in the Darth Vader breathing at the end of the next one. You don't even have to show him, and we'll know that he's there.
I want to see his power, man. Like, we only saw briefly Darth Vader's full power in Empire Strikes Back, like how he's just walking around. Like, the battle is going around and Darth Vader's somewhere amidst the battle, and then you see him, but it was only brief moments. And the best moment was when Han Solo entered that dinner table scene in Empire Strikes Back, fires his gun, and Darth Vader blocks all the laser shots and then pulls his gun, and he's just like, man, imagine what he would do on the ground. And you get a couple of ground shots of war in that. If Darth Vader's in there fighting or taking orders or giving orders or whatever, that's got to be unreal.
And speaking of like ground shots of war, and everything. They got that shot of the running at the AT-AT, which gives you that real frontline feeling, like a Saving Private Ryan. And the only reason I can think they'd be running towards them is to take them out or escape, and that's the only means of escape. You've got to go through them to escape. And either way, I'm looking forward to seeing how that scene plays out.
Great comparison, Dave, and I love that shot. It just shows how weak and frugal the resistance is, and how powerful and well equipped the Empire is, and they're just running into a steel wall of death. You know what I mean? Like, it looks fantastic, that shot. That got me really excited.
This whole film has a great kind of prisoners of war, like wartime film, shots, and they've got those rebels in chains as they're walking them through, and they're trying to stomp out the growing rebel alliance. It has this great feel, the trailer. I'm really looking forward to seeing it. And as well, it has 1977 looking models, so it's going to be really nostalgic as well, Lloyd.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You're referring, of course, to the Star Destroyers coming away from the constructed Death Star?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it looks so cool.
Another thing I've noticed when I've looked at this teaser trailer a few times, I'll admit it, there might be a robot companion amongst the group. If you look at a couple of shots, there's a tall, dark droid just behind Jin. And I'm thinking maybe that will be the robot companion, the R2-D2, maybe the comic relief. I'm not sure.
I don't want it to be. It looks so menacing following her from behind. I hope it's like a metal bodyguard, almost like the one you see in, I don't know, like almost like a RoboCop like bodyguard for her, like just something tough, just so we get away from that comedy relief sort of element. But I guess you kind of need some form of comedy in Star Wars, because this is obviously going to be a very bleak story.
Well, it might be, yeah. I was thinking about the robots in Interstellar, those very square ones who are actually practical, helpful robots. Maybe this one's been brought in just for practical helping, lifting rocks or moving doors.
I was thinking of the Guardians in Castle in the Sky, the Hayao Miyazaki films, those Guardians that were protecting the gardens. I was thinking something like that, but I could be way off. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Look, the another thing that's really captured everyone's imagination is that it's really like a girl power thing going on here. Similar to Rey, she did fantastically in The Force Awakens. The girl can fend for herself here as well. She takes on 4 or 5 stormtroopers. You've got them kind of knocked about by her. She's got some skills straight off the bat. And it's really credible too, because there's a shot of Felicity Jones, who looks like Claire Danes from Homeland, as well. There's a shot of her at the end looking like Katniss Everdeen from Hunger Games. So it's all girl power films at the moment. A lot of references in there for that.
Counter to that, I like that idea, but I hope they don't take away from the threat of the Empire, because as John Carpenter said, a film is only as good as the villain. And they got Ben Mendelsohn as a villain who's Australian. I absolutely love Ben Mendelsohn. He's so memorable in every film he's been in. I think he's absolutely fantastic. Something about his voice and his presence is just so threatening. And there's that one shot of him as the Admiral. I think. I'm just assuming with the cape and everything, obviously he's some sort of commander. And I just hope that the stormtroopers are a real threat. They're not the director Gareth Edwards has choreographed really strong action scenes, which doesn't show the stormtroopers constantly missing with their guns. I hope they're hitting their targets. They're a real threat, you know what I mean?
Well, Ben Mendelsohn's fantastic in Place Beyond the Pines, another one we've reviewed on the podcast. I'm hoping he's a new character. I really am looking forward to them expanding the Star Wars universe in this way. I was thinking about the Force. I don't think there'll be any Jedis in this film, but something tells me the Force will be strong in some characters. If you look at the Asian character fighting with the stick, I think he might be blind, and therefore maybe using the Force to fight. There's a shot when the Rogue One cast shot was revealed, and he's just to the right of Felicity Jones in the picture, and his eyes look kind of, I don't know, how would you describe them, Lloyd?
Like a White Walker from Game of Thrones. I'm not sure. They're just whited out. They got that really freakish look to them. Yeah,
which makes me think maybe he's blind, and I'm guessing kind of in Daredevil or Elektra, you had that kind of mentor character who was blind, and Daredevil obviously was blind, and just using their senses and abilities. Maybe we'll see the Force in that way.
Yeah, they've also got, speaking of mentors, of course, they've got Forrest Whitaker in this, and he seems like a mentor character because he's given these lines that seem to be in that direction. And it's interesting, Obi-Wan Kenobi, who was played by the great cheese, I'm forgetting his name.
Alec Guinness.
Guinness, another great Academy Award winning actor who was just lucky enough that they were able to get him to play a role in Star Wars, and he's probably one of the most memorable characters in the whole entire franchise. And I hope Forrest Whitaker can live up to that, because Forrest Whitaker, man, is an amazing actor. He's an Academy Award winner, and it's just great to see him in a very popular franchise. And I just hope he just has a really memorable performance. I think he's probably going to be a character that they kill off to show the threat of the dark side, like, you know, the mentor
of the Empire.
The mentor usually always dies. They've got a big target on them, whether it's Yoda or Obi-Wan Kenobi himself, but or even Qui-Gon Jinn, who died in Episode 1. You know, just if you're a mentor, you got a big target on you.
Well, here's the thing: everybody could die. Everyone's expendable, because ultimately we don't know any of these characters from future films. So at some point, they disappear into the background. I love the final line where Forrest Whitaker says, "What will you become?" And there's that shot of her wearing Imperial clothes at the end of the trailer. And I'm curious as to whether it gives away a plot point, you know, that she changes sides.
Is that, or whether has she got a black stormtrooper costume? Like, we're seeing black stormtroopers in this. I'm assuming that's like the elite stormtroopers, like Hitler's SS stormtroopers sort of thing. Is that the scene? I'm just trying to scan through and find it. Oh yeah, I see it. I see it.
Very end with the lights.
It looks
around
like a pilot
head.
suit.
Yeah, and it's got that kind of Imperial logo. You know, it probably is like a farce when Luke and Han wear the stormtrooper clothes and they have to infiltrate the Death Star.
That's what I was thinking exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Although you mentioned the black stormtrooper, I think maybe that's just the Empire working out its colors. You know, for me, Darth Vader is wearing black helmet and everything, and for other people to have his look doesn't strike me as something he would let happen. So I'm guessing they phased out all the black stormtroopers and, you know, in favor of white ones, based on the fact that Darth Vader looks too similar.
And it looks like they brought in sometime later on silver. So no, I'm referring, of course, to
Captain Phasma. Yeah. Sure. No, look, we've talked at length about her in our Force Awakens podcast. You can find all that stuff at our website, and I'm sure we'll cover Rogue One in the future, guys. We're really looking forward to it.
I can't wait. It's going to be amazing.
Thanks for watching. If you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Check out our podcast at www.podmeifyoucan.com.